Welcome to the Yo Livin' Podcast. Yo Livin' Podcast, mostly Vegas, no BS, casino experience, and more. Michael Traeger is a casino and travel loyalty expert who also helps people turn their travel dreams into reality. How's it going, Michael?
It's going well. How are you doing, Mr. Movestro?
I am doing fantastical. Thank you very much for asking.
Fantastical.
Fantastical.
That's like a level above fabulous. It goes fabulous, and then it goes fantastical.
I like it.
That's all right. I like fantastical. That's a great word. It's absolutely.
Maybe they should change the Las Vegas sign from "Welcome to Fabulous Las Vegas" to like "Welcome to Fantastical Las Vegas." Maybe
it could be a good marketing. It could be a good marketing strategy, because they recently did that whole discount Las Vegas marketing strategy thing that they pushed out with a bunch of discounts at a bunch of places, which are not really great discounts, but
right.
was interesting. I sort of looked at it and I'm like, this isn't very exciting, right? But that's it. And didn't they just add a new social media ish area to like on the way to Uber at Las Vegas airport? You're more
sort of a Instagrammable Uber pickup at the airport.
Yeah, I think Meltz wrote about it was bothering him that the trash cans were still in the image.
Yeah, he left it in there on purpose.
He's like, I'm so upset these trash cans are in the image. Yeah, everyone's like, "Why? That's going to be a cluster." I don't know. An Instagrammable moment as you're getting to your Uber, right? Because that's exactly the time when you've gotten off your flight and fought for your bags and everything's crazy, and now you need to make your way to the chaotic Uber pickup. You just want to like stop for an Instagrammable moment.
Because that's when the vacation begins, after the flight, not on the way to your airport and waiting around for 2 hours and all that shit in the flight. It's when you land, you got your bag, all right, you're getting out of the freaking airport, you're getting to your Uber, you're waiting, all right, now the vacation begins. So I think it's sort of like a Vegas starts here kind of a thing. So yeah, I think that could work. For me personally, the vacation always started when I checked into the hotel. I got through the freaking line, negotiating with the person at the desk, and just got into my room. That's when I was like, okay, now the vacation begins. But yeah.
And they said, Mr. Movestro, we've upgraded you to a go room.
I've always asked for the go room. I did get an upgrade at Excalibur once, but it had blood on the curtains.
Blood on the curtains.
Blood on the curtains.
How do you know it was really blood? Maybe it was cranberry juice.
Okay, maybe. But I mean, it's Excalibur, so.
Now that you mention Excalibur, there was an update about 2 hours ago from Vital Vegas, hearing that the finance department staff at Excalibur were laid off Friday, adding to the list of previously shuttered departments, including bell staff, front desk, valet, and most of the reservations staff. Well, some of that sounds like they're just consolidating, into MGM stuff, but that's interesting. The finance department, I bet they're just consolidating finance departments at MGM because they don't need like a separate finance department in every hotel. That's my guess, but I don't know if that's really considered news. I guess it's news that if they're consolidating, they're laying off people, which is yucky. But because I think like consolidating a finance staff is a lot different than like getting rid of your valet or not having bell staff. Because as far as I understand it now, Excalibur doesn't have bell staff. Is that true, Movestro?
I have no idea. You'd have to speak to someone at Excalibur about that. I don't know. I don't really know. It seemed like weird they would get rid of bell staff though. Like, isn't that where you like check your, the room ain't ready, you want to drop your bag off, or I guess they have a kiosk for it now, or like.
And it's also the dudes and dudettes who bring the bags up to your room, like come outside to the car and bring the bags. That seems like a really silly thing to cut back on, if you ask me, because people still need that in Vegas because they've got big bags and things like that. It's not like it's like a business convention hotel where everyone's with their little roller bag moving along. There are
Right.
families and people from the UK. For some reason, people from the UK seem to like Excalibur. Staying for if you follow the UK Facebook groups. Do you follow the
Uh-huh.
UK Facebook groups?
I think
It
they
always
like it.
it always comes.
Yeah, they like Excalibur because it originates in that side of the world. Excalibur, and the whole thing with the kings and the knights and all that. That's got to be it. Because other than that, I mean, the property is trash. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure why they like it.
But
But
is it really trash? To some people, it still has a bunch of restaurants. It has low limit gambling. I don't know. I mean, in comparison to like your standard regular in like the UK Premier Inn, which is like a budget hotel. I mean, I do. It also falls under the pretext of when people always say things like, "I only use the room to shower and shit." I mean, anyone who always has an issue like with the less expensive hotels, they're like, well, what do you do in the room anyway? You just shower, you're out the whole time. What do you need a nice room for? That's always one of those like things that comes up, right? Like over the years,
yeah,
like you hear
that
that
is a good
over and
point.
over again.
I mean, that is a good point because I mean, that's when I say that Excalibur, that's basically all the room was for: shit, shave, slumber.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
shit,
and of
shave,
course
shower, and slumber.
people will argue, I rather save $100 or $200 a night on my room and spend that money on other things in Las Vegas, inclusive of gambling. And it's difficult. Like, can't really argue with that, right? I mean,
Right.
if you have to be respectable of somebody on a limited budget saying, I only have such a budget, so I don't want to spend all my money on the room in the
Mm-hmm.
hotel, then I don't have money to spend on other things like
Right.
steak. Uh, but I hear you have some great, interesting news today about Bally's Las Vegas, but Bally's Las Vegas in relation to Tropicana, because remember, the current Bally's Las Vegas is Horseshoe Las Vegas, which used to be the MGM Grand Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I love saying that. That just right there, that creates total confusion for anyone who doesn't know Las Vegas.
Yep. That's about right, though. It's got a history to it. Let's get to the news. Bally's Corporation announced plans for Bally's Las Vegas, set to rise at the former site of the Tropicana Las Vegas. The groundbreaking project will share a 35-acre campus with the new Las Vegas Athletics Major League Baseball ballpark. Bally's Las Vegas will feature 2 luxury hotel towers totaling 3,000 rooms, an entertainment venue with a seating capacity of 2,500, and more than 500,000 square feet of retail, dining, and entertainment offerings. The resort will also include a casino and a VIP experience with direct access to the ballpark. And that's going to do it for the news. And now for the views. Michael, what are your thoughts?
What are my thoughts? I love new casinos. That's my thought. I love new hotels. I'm always excited to hear that. I mean, I don't know much about this because this is new news. I should say to you, what are your thoughts, Movestra?
Well, I found interesting is that they're going with 2 luxury towers. So I'm guessing it's not going to be, there aren't going to be any run of the house rooms like your basic, and then like, oh, I think they said luxury towers. So I'm thinking that every room is going to be luxurious. So that'll be interesting because then it would be that they can possibly in that area compete with maybe Aria. They're already going to beat Excalibur in New York, New York. Uh, but yeah, so luxury towers. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, so it's so Bally's, and this is obviously the new Bally's. I don't even know what to call these companies anymore. Re-entering the Las Vegas market, and it's going to have a baseball park, we think. So I think that's part of it. So now we have, and you said there was some like flip flop on the design, like where they're going to put the ballpark in comparison to the hotel.
Yeah, they changed. So I remember seeing the original renderings or and the original plan was that the ballpark is going to be up front and center on the Las Vegas Strip. And now it's Bally's is up front and center on the Las Vegas Strip, ballpark in the back. But the original idea was ballpark in the front, Bally's in the. So I guess they swapped it around. So my guess is because, and this is just my opinion, Bally's has more of a chance of happening, but we'll see.
I was about to say that. Yeah. So like what which it's like which came first, the chicken or the egg? Which came
Right.
first, the hotel or the ballpark?
Oh, it's going to be the ballpark. Well, no, it's going to be Bally's. Hmm. It's going to be Bally's.
Hmm.
Yeah, Bally's. I don't think it's. Yeah, yeah. We'll see. That's
Well, and that makes sense what you're saying, because if the ballpark takes more time or is potentially delayed, it would sort of look stupid having all of this empty land in front of the hotel. Whereas if the hotel's in front and has the ballpark behind it, that will look a little bit better if, like, say, the hotel opened 2 years before the ballpark.
Yeah, I mean, I think eventually it started in the front. Now it's in the back. Then it gets a little bit smaller. Then it becomes a pickleball court, and we'll see what happens. Who knows?
Yeah, and just to comment on your two luxury hotel towers, that's really, I think, just speak pretty much so, like you said, they're trying to tell you that this is going to be a hotel like Aria or like
Right.
Bellagio,
Right.
as opposed to, it's not going to be Excalibur or New York, New York. They're trying to like tell you what kind of hotel it's going to be sounding better. I don't know what word you would use though if it wasn't like luxury hotel towers, like two crappy hotel towers, two hotel towers with sort of shitty rooms, but that's
Well, we could use the
that's
UK equivalent, right? So it'd be two premier towers, right? Because you said
too the luxury. Yes.
because you said
Well,
the
it's always
premier.
so funny when hotels have a category, when it drives me crazy because there's no consistency on this. When they say, when a hotel has superior, deluxe, and premium rooms, and that's what they call the categories, it's such a like superior, deluxe, premium. Well, is deluxe better than superior, or is superior better than deluxe? And how about premium? It's just like you don't really know which is which. It's sort of like fantastical and fabulous, right?
Right.
You don't really know which is better.
Well, the thing is that the term superior means it's better than everything else, does it not? So therefore, wouldn't a superior room theoretically, based on its meaning, be better than the other rooms? I mean, that just makes sense to me.
But
I could be
usually in
wrong,
hotels, the deluxe room is better than the superior room.
right?
Right. It's a
Right?
really, it's like a dumb use of, it's just like, it's like marketing language, which is really hard to figure out because there's no consistency. So no one's
Yeah.
required to make deluxe. No one's required to make what is deluxe better than what is superior. And then like premier, premium. And then there's like premium and premier. No, it's usually premium, deluxe, superior. Those are words that are bandied about by hotels. But that is usually, but I think in my recollection, usually deluxe is better than superior in a hotel, like in a hotel room category. That would be very interesting to research. I don't know why. I don't know how you would research it because there are so many hotels. I guess you could compare a group of hotels. I don't know how you would research steak. Oh, wait, I do.
You do. Yeah, we have that coming up in the next episode, I believe.
No, I think that's this episode.
Oh, is it? Okay. In it. Oh yeah, it is. All right. Yeah, we got it.
You see, because you see, the switch thing really confused the shit out of us because you switch.
All right. For folks at home, now you need an explanation. So, we try to think out as ahead of time as possible what the topics are going to be. We don't have a script, obviously, but we have an idea of like, are we going to do this? We're going to have, and then the day of, I look at the most recent news today. The Bally's thing just broke, so I was like, that's got to go. we had a podcast ponder planned for this episode. So I go into the share drive and I'm looking at the podcast ponder. I was like, oh, that's right. We have a podcast ponder. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, I didn't write this. Like what I had here is a lot shorter. Like this is, I must have been on a roll that day, I guess. Because apparently Mr. Traeger made some adjustments to it. I didn't realize that. I moved the podcast ponder from this episode to the next episode and replaced it with the news segment because this episode's about to drop. So we have to get the news out. So Traeger goes in today and he's like, I don't remember this being here. And so the ponder got moved to the next episode. The topic of steak is still today. Yes.
And the topic today, well, today's topic started out, and unfortunately, I'm always a little compressed on my time of preparing. It was just like Vegas prices are crazy. And today is like part one. I don't know when part two is, so don't ask me. And we're just doing a little bit of a comparison of steaks. And a lot of this is based on the fact that you hear so many people screaming about Vegas being expensive. So why don't we get on with it?
All right, let's go to the teas.
Okay, so I think we need to put a big asterisk here. Whenever you're talking about prices, there are so many variables in price, especially with a vacation and especially in a city like Las Vegas, that it's very hard to do a apples to apples or peaches to peaches. I prefer peaches to peaches than apples to apples comparison. So it's tough. And lately, you like to hear a lot of people shock you with prices in travel. And it's not just Las Vegas, but there seems to be, would you agree, Movestro? There seems to be over the last couple months a lot more shock over Vegas pricing. And it all depends what people are showing. And then even it's just gone back even further. Remember Nacho Gate at Fontainebleau?
Yeah.
That's, I mean, there's always like this like shock of what something costs and how Vegas is becoming unaffordable and how it's not the value. And of course, I over on the overall overarching theme to me is that Vegas is definitely not the bargain that it used to be, but no travel is the bargain that it used to be. So it's sort of unfair to beat up on poor Vegas so much with pricing, but there are certain things in Vegas that have gotten a little bit crazier with regard to pricing. We're not going to go into that kind of nuance now, but I think what I was just sort of doing some comparisons of what getting a steak in a very pricey steakhouse, one of the more expensive steakhouses in Palm Beach, was in comparison to Vegas. So this is because we always need a visual. This is the ribeye at Flagler Steakhouse, and it's just a half. It's just that's actually a split. That's a half order of the ribeye, and their ribeye there, if I remember correctly, is between 14 and 16 ounces. But as you'll see in the chart, I don't list that. So of course we had to like look at a beautiful ribeye at one of my favorite steakhouses. I will say it is one of my top favorite steakhouses in the country. My personal listing, very, very personal, because I can't go to every steakhouse in the country. And because I'm not interested in going in every steakhouse in the country, because I don't even really love steakhouses that much, is my favorite steak. Some of my favorite steakhouses are Rare at Encore Boston Harbor, Vic and Anthony's specifically at Golden Nugget Atlantic City, Flagler Steakhouse in Palm Beach. And I would say for Las Vegas, Four Sixes is up there for me, though I don't know how much longer that's going to last because that's been the longest pop up restaurant in a while. And also, a lot of people that I know really like Delmonico Steakhouse at Venetian. And so I figured I'd just do a little comparison. And of course, when you do a comparison like that, I was just looking at when you look at a check for going out to a steakhouse, to me there are a number of components to that check, and obviously the price. We're only looking at the price of the ribeye. The price of the ribeye here is $5 more because it's the blackened ribeye. But of course, you also have everything else when you determine price. And you have the sides, which I find sides to be relatively consistent in most travel markets for luxury steakhouses, but the appetizers can vary a lot. So at Flaker Steakhouse, the oysters Rockefeller are $50, which I think is really really high for oysters Rockefeller. So, but the rack of lamb is $95, which I think is on target, and their price for a what I consider a very very decent bottle of Chianti is about $105. And that's another thing that's notable to mention in Las Vegas. If you're a wine drinker, there is a huge variation in wine pricing. And wine pricing, for example, at my beloved Wynn Las Vegas, has gone absolutely crazy, even wine by the glass. Like it is not unusual at Wynn Las Vegas to run into $30 to $50 glasses of wine, and barely being able to find a bottle of wine that's under $150. So that is another consideration of everything that you're looking at there. So when you look at our first comparison of the steakhouses, and this is what I call comparison one, which is the abridged. It should be the abridged version. Is it the abridged version, Movestro?
Yes, it
I can't
is.
see. Okay. So we're doing a comparison here, and I'm curious about, and this is tough to pull together the data because not all the restaurants display their current menu pricing, which becomes difficult. Like, for example, Circus Circus doesn't put menu prices on their website. Did you know that? So you need to find somebody who's posted the menu recently to know what the menu prices are, or go there personally. I mean, of course, another way that we do this more accurately is I could have actually asked Movestro on Monday to go to SW Steakhouse, on Tuesday to go to Prime, on Wednesday to go to Delmonico, and on Thursday to go to the steakhouse at Circus Circus, and then on Friday to go to Four Sixes and order a ribeye steak at each one of those restaurants and verify what the price is. Would you have been up for that? Would you have thought that was a crazy idea if I asked you to do that?
My doctor would have freaking killed me if I had eaten that much red meat in 1 week. There's just no way. Yes, I
But
would
you're
have thought
doing
you were crazy. I
you're
would have
doing
walked
it
in.
for the
I would have walked in. Oh yeah, can I see the menu? Oh sure, here we go. All right, thank you very much. Snap. Oh, a bit out of my league, thanks. And then go to the next place and just like knock everything off in one day and send you all the pictures. I would have done that. But like, no, yo,
this
dude,
is what we need to
dude.
do. I want to know if there's someone out there willing to do the ribeye, regular ribeye, not any of the fancy wagyu stuff. Is willing to do a Monday to Friday ribeye challenge and eat at each of these restaurants in the course of 5 days and report back on their experience with the ribeye and confirming the prices. I think that is a fantastical challenge.
I'm sure there's someone out there that's up for it. Just grab anyone that's outside of about to go into Heart Attack Grill. Be like, hey, we got a
Hey,
deal for you. Your mission, should you choose to accept it,
is
see
to
what they
eat at
say.
5 steakhouses in Las Vegas 5 days in a row. We'll call it the. We'll we'll do that. Let's do that for next year. Let's do that as like a challenge. I'll just like eat one piece of the steak though. I'll leave the rest. You could bring it home for leftovers.
Yeah, stick it in my freezer. Save it for
Yeah.
another
So
week. Yeah.
that's right. So what we're looking at here in Palm Beach, a really good ribeye, which we're assuming is 14 to 16 ounces. The whole bone thing becomes really difficult because when they give you the weight always includes the bone. So that's a hard thing. But let's set all of that aside. So you're looking at about $85 in Palm Beach. And then when we start to look at Las Vegas at our little abridged list of steaks, it looks to me like you can get a ribeye at the Steakhouse at Circus Circus, which is a really good restaurant in a really lousy hotel, which is quite unique to Las Vegas, for $80. And then that goes up to the price of a bone-in ribeye at Prime Steakhouse at Bellagio, which is $136. SW Steakhouse has their boneless ribeye for which is 18 ounces for $102. So that's tricky if we're sticking with these figures, and we're assuming they're relatively accurate because I compiled all of this within 15 minutes before the show, so it's got to be accurate. That's which Movestro will attest to. But that's also tough because an 18-ounce boneless ribeye is a lot more edible meat than an 18-ounce bone-in ribeye, because an 18-ounce bone-in ribeye is probably 14 or 15 ounces of meat as opposed to it. So that's sort of interesting if you started to break that down. But let's just make some assumptions here. So you've got that, and then it's interesting. Delmonico Steakhouse has a prime boneless ribeye, which is 16 ounces, which is $78, which seems like a steal. And Delmonico's is an excellent steakhouse. And then we pop back over to Wynn Las Vegas. Notice there are two at Wynn because why not? Four Sixes has a spice crusted boneless ribeye, which is 18 ounces for $102. So it's sort of interesting to see where the price points are, but sticking with the theme of like Vegas is so crazy expensive, I'm not sure exactly what the conclusion would be here, but to me, the conclusion, I think we should probably expand on this and add New York and Chicago and Los Angeles and London to the list. I think we could say that pretty much so. Vegas is, I don't know, on average, probably about the same price at really good steak, maybe a little bit more at the top at some of these steakhouses. But it also goes to prove to you that there is no like conclusive answer where you can say it's definitely more expensive to go to a steakhouse on the Las Vegas Strip than it is to go to a steakhouse in Palm Beach or in New York. So I don't know. What do you get out of this, Mostro? And we can, let's show the slide comparison. The next slide shows more of a breakdown of additional steaks. Like Circus has a ribeye on the bone for 24 ounces for 95. That seems awful low to me. And then they also have a 16 ounce for $80. So I'm not sure. I might need to double check some of this. One thing that is important to note here, as far as a value, is that Circus includes sides and other things with the steak. So that makes Circus a screaming deal for a really good steak in Las Vegas. And I think everybody knew that the steakhouse at Circus was a really good deal. So what hits you like, Movestro, if I said to you like Vegas prices are crazy, they're getting more expensive? Like, what does this prove or disprove that to you?
I would say it kind of disproves it. I mean, if you're comparing the ounce to price, it seems to be in line with most other places. I mean, unless you get to those really really high end places. Well, the thing is, if you don't want to, if people don't want to pay more money, they don't have to go to SW Steakhouse or whatever the most expensive ones are. I did find it interesting though that at SW Steakhouse and Four Sixes, an 18-ounce ribeye at two different restaurants are still the same price, $102. So I know that was interesting.
That's interesting. So if I did not make an error there, that's somebody. It seems like somebody at Wynn said that we need to price these the same.
Yeah.
That's sort of smart, actually, right?
Yeah.
And
so compared to Flagler, which is obviously, from what I understand, extremely delicious. I mean, there's a lot of There's places in that price range as well, like Delmonico and the Steakhouse and Circus. I mean, not every steakhouse. We didn't add Gordon Ramsay on here or Gallagher's or any of the other steakhouses, but you get a good idea. So it looks like it's pretty much on par when you consider it.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of the point here. It's definitely on par. And a Flavor Steakhouse is definitely a smaller steak. It's like 14 to 16 ounces on a on a bone for, I think so. It's not I think it's a that's also a little bit cheaper because it's a little bit smaller because they do everything bigger in Vegas. So dun dun dun. So that's also another point. And even if you look at that picture again, for one human to eat as far as a portion, that's a half portion in that picture. In that steak picture, that's just a half portion, and that's pretty good. Pull that picture up again. There
Yep,
you
it's
are.
up.
I mean, that's a half. That's a split with béarnaise sauce and with fries. That's pretty darn. And you know what? Actually, Flagler included the fries or a potato, so that is a little bit. Whereas the Vegas steakhouses, except for Circus, to the best of my knowledge, of course, comment. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you know. Tell us what we got wrong. I got wrong. I do think all of the other steakhouses other than Circus are purely a la carte, as far as I know, right, Movestro? I think all of those top Vegas steakhouses, like, they give you nothing with your steak and the sauces, because that's another thing. You could do a whole comparison of like sauce prices and things like that. So I guess when it comes to high end dining, and I think this is true overall, I don't think Vegas is out of line with regard to its high end dining. And I actually think one of the pluses of Vegas, which is an incredible, incredible plus, is that you have so many options. I mean, I guess you have so many options in New York, but do you have so many options in a really compressed area like the Vegas Strip, which is, if you think how close these places are and having all of these different options. So that's what I'm going to leave you with, unless Movestro has any other steak wisdom.
No, I don't have any other steak wisdom that I can offer, but I mean the prices are right there. It's on par. You'll pay more for more ounces, obviously. Some of the ones in the second chart, like 26-ounce steaks and stuff like that. Of course, the price has skyrocketed, but yeah, it seems pretty on par to me.
Yeah, and then you also have the tomahawks everywhere. What do you think is the genesis of people complaining more in the last few months about prices in Vegas being crazy? Do you think something like triggered that, or do you think it's just people like to complain, or the overall economy, or there people are looking for a reason because hotel occupancy is down but a lot of revenue is up, especially with the gambling revenue? What do you think there's something that touched that off with people, or do you think it's just like the media loves like latching on to that? Because that's the problem too. Like, if one big media outlet says, Vegas prices have gone crazy, I mean, I guess the other thing that's not a fair comparison, a lot of that Vegas prices are crazy is nickel and diming.
Yep,
But I'm not sure, like, does Vegas have more nickel and diming than other travel destinations?
that's a good question. But yeah, it's definitely the nickel and diming. The fees for everything that you could possibly, I mean, just to get like a freaking bottle of water at a casino is like eight. Come on, man, it's $8. $8 for an 8-ounce bottle. Come on, man. It's things like
And then
that.
also, if you saw the recent article that was published by the Independent, which they asked me for some commentary on, that the MGM stores do dynamic pricing now.
Yeah. So they
So
can raise
that's
the
another.
price at any point, depending on what time of the day it is and how many people are there.
And I'm very much opposed to dynamic pricing in stores, because I think that's absolutely ludicrous that, like, that same bottle of Evian water, like you're saying, is $8, and then maybe they decide, because of inventory, because it's busy, because of something like that, it becomes $12, or maybe it becomes $6. And that's really crazy, because I hate that, because then you have like everything in the store without prices on it, and you've either have to self-scan the item or find out when you're buying it. And to me, that's devious. I think having having stores with prices that change depending on other factors is a devious way to do it, because that's a lot different than a store like having to change the price physically on an item, like, oh, we've increased the price on all the water, so all of it is going to be increased this month. So that's rather devious, and I think that's part of the reference, but it's an interesting conversation anyway.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right.
So that's where we are. I want to do hamburger prices. That
We could
would be
do
a tough
that.
one to do. Movestro, we are going to have to send you to one place a day to have a hamburger.
Again, with
I'm
the
like
red
not
meat.
I'm not cardiologist friendly for you, right?
No, no, you're not. You're not.
Okay.
Not for these assignments anyway. Like in moderation, absolutely. We had that wonderful what was it? That raw red meat, that steak sushi thing at Four
Steak
Sixes?
tartare.
Tartare,
Steak
yes.
tartare.
Yes, yes.
Yes. And Four Sixes has one of the best steak tartares that I've ever had before, if that's your jam. It was so good that I dragged Movestro there just to try it, to give me his opinion on it, because I really love to do that. And if I was really prepared and I thought we were going to mention that, we would show a picture of it, but we can't because I didn't prepare for that. So, but it's in a prior, I'm sure we showed a picture of it in a prior episode. So that's pretty much everything that I have for you today. I'm curious about your general thoughts about pricing in Las Vegas, pricing in travel, and value. So we'd love to hear what you think about it.
All right. And before we get going, is there anything on your mind or anything that you would like to share?
ZorkFest. You got to check out ZorkFest.com. We've got all the speaker bios up, and we also have some great add-ons, which are for master classes. And these master classes are phenomenal, if I say so myself. It's all on zorkfest.com. And at the top of the website, there are tabs for like add-ons, and you can read all about that. You can purchase tickets for the add-ons now. And we're going to be talking about that in the next episode.
All right, sounds good. And that's going to do it for this episode. Luxury travel booking, Travel Zork Travel. Visit us at travelzork.travel to plan your next amazing vacation and join the conversation on social media. You can find us easily. All social platforms are at Travel Zork. We'll see you next time.